Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harris and I read, review and discuss fantasy and science fiction books, and today we're talking about sex, baby. Hopefully that song is international and it's not just like a UK thing. Yeah, I'm sure it is. So, we are going to be going through The Wandering Inn, the Interlude mating ritual, and I read the next chapter, so I think that one's chapter 15 or 16, but we're going to go through both. I'm probably just kind of going to ramble around both of them. So let's start off with the Interlude. So why did I read two chapters this week? Well, a couple of reasons. So first major reason was, honestly, I don't know how much there was to discuss in the mating rituals chapter, and I didn't really want to just like put up an 8-minute video that was like, yeah, I had a lot of fun reading this chapter, and then I also just had a little bit of extra time, so I read the next chapter. I actually was planning on trying to read 3 chapters for you guys this week, but just ran out of time, honestly. I'm currently reading the next Wheel of Time book, and just having such a good time with that book. But also the main read for the channel, which is the Wheel of Time book, I needed to make a bit more progress on it than so I didn't have enough time to read another chapter of Wandering Inn as well. It was a shame because I really enjoyed both the chapters that I read. So the Mating Rituals Interlude is very funny. So I didn't know. So in the book, it's just like in there, just like it's the next chapter. But on the website, it tells you that it was a patron short story, and that it's like not in the right place in terms of chronology, which I feel like is a bit of a shame, because like it kind of took me out of it when Erin's like, she shut Torrin in the inn, and I'm like, Torrin's been gone for weeks. So that was a bit disappointing. I felt like it does feel like sometimes that the ebook is literally just like someone has copied and pasted the website into a document, and I feel like you could actually put a bit more effort in with that and be like, well, this interlude actually takes place here, so we'll put it here in the ebook. And the audiobook as well. I didn't actually listen to the audiobook for either of these chapters, so I don't know if it's the same, but I think that for Amazon to like sync the audiobook and the ebook, they do have to be the same. So I would have preferred that it had been just in the right place chronologically, but you know, whatever. Probably somebody told me in the comments and was like, you should read Interlude Mating Rituals after next week, and I didn't see it because I am not good at replying to my comments at the moment. I do see them all when they come in, but I basically had the choice this week between sitting down and replying to all my comments or reading another chapter of The Wandering Inn, and I chose to read another chapter. And I feel like you guys would probably prefer that. Next week, I will actually have a bit of time off work, so I might actually have time to go through and read a ton of those comments and reply. So that could be pretty fun. The other thing I was going to say is the second chapter, the Ryoka chapter, is also very good. So let's roll it back and discuss mating rituals actually, and then we will shift over to the Ryoka chapter. So mating rituals obviously very funny. The chapter's obviously written for like a comedic, not important bonus story. It's quite funny to hear Celis say that Olism is very attractive, because I thought of him as like a whiny nerd, and also that Relk is ugly, which is very funny. But like I thought of Olism as like a whiny nerd. I'm thinking like Urkel, but a Drake, and like to hear that he's like super hot, smart, and they're like, oh, and he's got career prospects, so you know a lot of Drake women are into him. I thought that was quite funny. And also, of course, we know that Captain Zavara is in love with Olasm, and she desperately wants to tell him, which is quite funny. I also see the captain as quite old and Olasm is quite young, so that also has been funny to me. They probably are of a commensurate age, or age isn't as much of a thing among drakes, but interesting. So I think Takern comes back, which is Kershia's nephew, who was like the gate guard in the Rewrite Volume 1, and I enjoyed seeing him come back, and also like him peeing on the side of the inn to mark his territory so that no other gnolls would try and date Erin. I always forget that the gnolls are actually hyena people, because I think of them as like wolfmen, and that's wrong. But in my mind, Kershia is a big wolf person, not a big hyena person. And obviously hyenas are more like wolves mixed with cats rather than, or like wolves mixed with cheetahs or whatever, rather than like, they're not like small dogs, they're like a mix between cats and dogs. So that also tells you a little bit about how, I think that maybe informs how I see the character a bit differently. It's very interesting to think about the way that maybe changes their behaviors and what you might expect from those characters. Because like, if you said like, oh, I've got some cat people here and some dog people here, you would expect very different behaviors from those two races. And if the gnolls are hyena people, I'll be interested to see if, thinking back on Kershia's behavior, I can see like hyena-esque stuff going on. So yeah, I know that that's something that's probably been referenced a few times in Volume 1, but it just didn't stick in my head until reading the interlude, when it was a bit more spelled out by Erin. But yeah, interesting, really like that. The other thing was, obviously there's a lot of discussion of genitalia in this one and sexual techniques. This isn't a PG channel, I think I swear, and I talk about mature issues. However, I don't necessarily want to discuss genitalia in detail. So what I would say is just read this chapter. I'm sure you already have if you're watching this video. And there's a lot of really good jokes in it, especially ones about barbed penises. So this video is already probably ultra demonetized. So, you know, I should have made, if I'd read The One Ring in more quicker, if I'd read it quicker, I could have got to this chapter before I monetized the channel, and then I wouldn't have had to worry about being demonetized for this particular episode. But I'm sure that people are watching and enjoying me fumbling Britishly over not talking about wieners. So that was funny. I liked the Erin accidentally giving that guy a tail job, because I was like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. But it is weird if they have an erogenous zone that is outside of their body. Not outside of their body, like outside of their, like not covered by clothes, I guess. But yeah, whatever. Different strokes for different Drake folks. So all in all, I did enjoy, and I thought that was a very funny chapter. I chuckled a few times, and Pirate Arbor is good at writing comedy. I think that they can really nail the jokes and stuff like that. So next up, we had this Ryoka chapter, and this Ryoka chapter introduces us to a few things which I really enjoyed. So I think the main thing that we get from this is the courier. So I think his name was Val. Unfortunately, my week has scheduled out that I had loads of time to read on Monday, but I have only just on Thursday had time to film this video. So hopefully that tells you why my memory might not be 100% sharp on the exact details. But yeah, I think this guy's name was Val. Maybe we'll call him Val anyway. So Garia basically turns up at the Runners Guild and she's been beaten up, and she's only just gotten away. And everyone's like, why don't you use a healing potion? Like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, like, I actually can't afford one because I'm a slow runner. So, like, one of the big things that Garia's got going for her is that she's really strong, because from growing up on a farm, she has, like, the lesser strength or whatever skill it is, but she doesn't have the speed. So she's, like, a small, stocky girl who is able to carry a lot, but not run that fast. So she's obviously faster than a normal person, and she has classed over to be a runner, but and she loves running, but she doesn't have that speed that a lot of the other runners have. And so that's got her into trouble this time, because she's not able to get away from these bandits. And the bandits are not just robbing people, they're also like firing arrows and shooting to kill, which is probably going to be a problem for our characters in the future. So she's like, oh, I was saved by another runner and I just escaped and came back here, and no one knows who the runner is. And Ryoka and Fals end up, well, he's probably not called Val if Fals is called Fals, or maybe he is. In the Wheel of Time, there's two major characters called Elaine and Egwene. So they kind of stitch Garia back up, and then Ryoka goes to see Octavia, because she wants to buy a health potion for Garia. And when she gets there, Octavia's like in a real tizzy and like pops her eyes out and they become fabric, and then she just washes them in the sink and puts them back in, which is quite fun. And you get the you get the idea that these Stitch people are actually incredibly incredibly powerful in terms of regeneration, and I feel like a Stitch person adventurer would actually be extremely strong, because you've got, you know, the ability to sew more muscles on, to add padding to make yourself more muscular and stronger. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on with the string people, and I would really like to I would love to like go to the string people world or have way more string people characters. Octavia is a lot of fun and I like her a lot, so that is good. But like I'm saying, I feel like I would like to see just a little bit more string people. Pirate Arbor is really teasing us with this. Anyway, so she gets Ryoka's like, oh well. In fact, Octavia explains that she's been making Ryoka's potions that she's given her the ideas to mix, and one of them is pepper spray. So she's made the spray, well, the pepper, but she hasn't made the spray, and she can't think of a way to make it. But Ryoka still takes it from her, and she's like, just throw it at someone and make sure you're not downwind of it, which is quite fun. Then we've got, she's like, oh, I need to buy a potion for Garia, and it needs to be like a high quality one that only costs 7 silvers, but I'll give you a gold and 7 silvers or whatever. And Octavia eventually twigs that Ryoka wants to kind of beef up the money that Garia is paying for this potion with her own money. Ryoka has always had a decent amount of money, and obviously she's got like 800 gold now or whatever from Teriarch, so there's a lot. She's rich, so she can actually afford to just piss away a few gold on some potions for Garia. But Octavia's like, I get it, Garia's a sweet girl, like, just take this high quality healing potion and she'll be able to, you know, put a dab on rather than have to pour the whole thing out and things like that. And then just like advertise my services to the Runners Guild, which, you know, is probably good business, because now all the runners are going to want to go there anyway. So Octavia is a smart cookie. Ryoka then goes back to the guild and gives her the potion, and eventually, you know, Persua's like, oh, mocking her or whatever, but whatever, Persua fucking sucks. And then we get the courier guy. So he turns up and he's like, hey, just want to check you're all right. And then eventually it turns out that he is going to Liscor the same as Ryoka is. Ryoka's like, oh shit, I want to be a courier, so I need to learn from this guy. Like, I need to know what's going on. And he mentions that he's run like 600 miles in like a couple of days, and she's like absolutely incredulous. Eventually it comes out that he needs a kind of a nudge in the direction of Liscor, and Ryoka's like, oh, I'll take you. And like, she like jogs out, and then she like starts running faster and faster and faster, and she eventually gets to the point where she's like in a dead sprint, and he's keeping up with her like he's out for a lazy Sunday stroll. And eventually he's like, oh, all right, I've figured out the way now, thanks for letting me know. I'm gonna get moving. And he uses some skills and he just shoots off, and he's like going mega fast, and she, within seconds, you can't even see him, he's going that fast. And Ryoka stops and is like, ah, fuck, like this, you know. And I feel like the thought that's actually running through her is like, I'm never going to be a courier if I don't take any skills. And when I'm reading that, I'm like, any rational, sane, normal person would be like, you know what, now I've seen skills and I know what it takes to be a courier, I'm going to allow myself to take the running class, leveling, and gain skills. Like, now because yeah, the other runners have had some skills, but they haven't like shown how, you know, they can move faster than humans physically possibly can run, which Ryoka already kind of has, because, you know, understanding of running, not 100% in Pirate Arbor. However, for me, I'm watching that and I'm going like, yeah, there's absolutely no shame or issue with taking skills to get yourself to that sort of level. Unfortunately, I don't think that that's the message that Ryoka's going to get, and I feel like Ryoka is just going to be a jackass and not take any skills. And I feel that because people talk about Ryoka, about how she's stunting her own growth and not taking any skills, and if she took skills in Volume 2, then that probably wouldn't be the pervading thought around her. But yeah, just a bit annoying to be like, you've seen this now, Ryoka, and if you are seeing this and going like, nope, I'm too good for skills, that just makes you an idiot. Like, that doesn't make you like, oh, whatever. That legitimately is like, you're an idiot. And I can see why a lot of people in the comments have said they don't like Ryoka and they don't enjoy reading her chapters. I enjoyed reading this chapter. I like the concept of her as a runner. I think her supporting cast I say her supporting cast. I think Octavia and Garia are really, really cool characters that I want to see more of. I like her relationship with Erin and her relationship with Teriarch. And I'm not as big of a fan of anyone on Ryoka's supporting cast, apart from Klibich, who is probably... and Torren. Klibich and Torren I like a lot. Pisces is good. Actually, no, Erin has got a better supporting cast now, especially now that Ryoka's supporting cast is basically just Falz, Garia, and Octavia. So, yeah, I think that for me, still enjoying all the chapters from all the POVs, but I would like to see Erin and Ryoka together again, as long as we don't have the switching perspective without any sort of visible change or denoting the perspective has changed, which does annoy me. But yeah, looking forward to reading more Wandering In, as always. If you've read these chapters and you have some things you want to chat about, please keep them PG and drop down in the comments and let me know. If you have liked this video, then please give it a like. And of course, if you haven't yet subscribed, every little subscription helps, and I would really love you to join our community. And of course, if you want to be the person who knows when these videos go up, the exact second they go up, you kind of need to be subscribed and you need to click that bell icon. I do post videos every single day on the week. Only one of those is a Wandering In video. However, if you like the Wandering In, you'd probably like a lot of the other books that I talk about. I think The Wandering Inn is more cozy than a lot of the stuff that I read, but something like The Wheel of Time is a massive epic with hundreds of lovable, likable, hateable characters and a huge epic world with incredible world building. And if you like The Wandering Inn, you might be the kind of person who's also going to like something like The Wheel of Time. So check out my content, watch my spoiler-free reviews, and that might lead you into a new series that you're going to love just as much as The Wandering Inn. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today, and I hope you do subscribe and join the community, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.